Interpretation is a unique and often underappreciated skill. It goes far beyond simply translating words from one language to another. It's about conveying meaning, nuance, and emotion in real time. Whether in a business meeting, a courtroom, or a diplomatic setting, interpreters are the silent bridges that connect people across languages and cultures, facilitating understanding where it might otherwise break down. What makes interpretation so fascinating is the incredible mental agility it requires. Interpreters must listen carefully to what is being said, process the information almost instantaneously, and deliver an accurate and clear rendition in the target language, all without losing the flow of conversation. It's a delicate balancing act, requiring not just linguistic proficiency but also a deep understanding of the context and the ability to think on one's feet. One of the key challenges interpreters face is that language is rarely a straightforward exchange of words. Every language carries its own cultural context, idiomatic expressions, and subtleties that can be difficult to translate. The interpreter must constantly navigate these differences, finding ways to communicate the same message in a way that makes sense to the target audience. It's not just about translating words, it's about capturing the essence of what's being said, ensuring that the meaning remains intact even when the language changes. There are different modes of interpretation, each with its own set of challenges. Simultaneous interpretation, for example, requires interpreters to speak while still listening to the source language, often with only a few seconds delay. This type of interpretation is commonly used in conferences or international summits, where speakers can't afford to wait for interpretation to catch up. Simultaneous interpreters must be incredibly focused, with the ability to split their attention between listening, processing, and speaking all at once. Consecutive interpretation, on the other hand, involves listening to a speaker, taking notes, and then delivering the interpretation after the speaker has paused. This mode allows for more accuracy since the interpreter has time to process and organize the information. However, it also requires an excellent memory and the ability to convey long stretches of dialogue without losing important details. Both modes require an extraordinary level of mental endurance and concentration, especially in high-pressure situations. One often overlooked aspect of interpretation is the emotional and ethical complexity it entails. Interpreters are not just language conduits. They are also mediators in sensitive and sometimes emotionally charged situations. They might be interpreting for someone in a medical emergency, during a legal proceeding, or in a tense negotiation. In these moments, the interpreter must remain neutral, conveying the message accurately without injecting personal bias, yet still being sensitive to the emotional weight in the conversation. It's a delicate line to walk, balancing professionalism with empathy. Cultural awareness is another crucial element of interpretation. Language is deeply intertwined with culture, and interpreters must be attuned to cultural norms and differences that influence communication. A joke or phrase that works in one language might not translate well into another due to cultural nuances, and an interpreter needs to be mindful of these subtleties. They are not just bridging languages but also bridging cultural divides, ensuring that the communication feels natural and appropriate on both sides. Interpretation also demands a high degree of adaptability. Interpreters often work in a variety of settings, from formal conferences and legal proceedings to informal business meetings and even casual conversations. They may be required to switch between different languages or dialects in a single session, adjust to different speaking styles, or adapt to unexpected changes in the content or tone of the conversation. Flexibility and quick thinking are essential qualities for any interpreter. Moreover, interpreters must maintain a deep knowledge of current events, specialized terminologies, and technical jargon relevant to the fields in which they work. For instance, an interpreter working in medical or legal settings must be familiar with the specific vocabulary used in those professions. This requires constant learning and preparation, as languages and terminologies evolve over time. Ultimately, interpretation is not just a technical skill, it is an art form. It's about capturing the rhythm and emotion of the speaker's voice, ensuring that the listener feels the same impact in the target language. It's about creating connections where none would exist, helping people understand one another on a level that goes beyond words. Interpreters play a crucial role in our interconnected world, and their work is a reminder that language is not just a tool for communication, it's a gateway to understanding.